Hey there, basketball fans. The New York Liberty are back in the win column. Emma Meesseman has arrived. And on today's episode, we're going to see if we can make a case for Sabrina Ionescu to be a part of the MVP conversation. That and more on today's episode of Gotta Get Up, a podcast for New York Liberty fans. Gotta get up, gotta get up, gotta get up. Hey, women's basketball fans, welcome to Gotta Get Up, a podcast for New York Liberty fans, brought to you by Black Rosie Media and hosted by Erica L. Ayala. Hey there, WNBA fans, especially New York Liberty fans. Welcome to another episode of Gotta Get Up, a podcast for New York Liberty fans. My name is Erica L. Ayala. I am your host, alongside Brian Florentin, who will join us a little bit later tonight. I'm also your founder of Black Rosie Media, and we are bringing you not just this podcast, but also Tempestagi Talk, where weekly we are talking about the Seattle Storm. But big news, of course, for the New York Liberty was that Emma Meesseman was acquired. She finally joined the team. We'll get into those two Connecticut games in a little bit. But as we discussed on our last episode, the writing was pretty much on the wall that it would be Jalen Sherrod that would step aside and make way for Emma Meesseman. It just seemed that that was going to be the case because on our last episode, as you may recall, we talked about how the New York Liberty also made moves to bring in Steph Talbot. We had some people in the chat that had very strong opinions about Steph. I wonder how y'all are feeling about those now. But either way, it just seemed like, yes, it was going to be Jay. And, I think the team handled it about as well as you could expect. They needed front court help, especially with Jonquel Jones still making her way back from injury. We know that also Nyara Sabally has been out. Kennedy Burke is now out. And the big one, of course, Brianna Stewart. And so in a post, there were actually several posts. I think the New York Liberty handled this pretty well considering, and they really gave a lot of respect to Sherrod, which you love to see. But this is on IG, Instagram, and I'm just going to read it here in case you haven't seen it. Jalen Sherrod is a champion in every sense of the word. She embodies the passion, grit, and relentlessness that define the city of New York. Her rise from undrafted free agent to WNBA champion is one of the most remarkable stories I've had the good fortune to witness, a testament to her perseverance and a powerful reminder to always push the boundaries and to never give up. Jalen, you've left New York better than you found it, and your mark here is everlasting. Once a Liberty, always a Liberty. Go be great, champ. That was a comment from Jonathan Kolb, the message from Jonathan Kolb with regard to Jalen Sherrod. You can see they also had just all of these different videos and photos that they posted of Jay. I mean, she was great energy for this New York Liberty squad. I had always said that, and something that they needed. Now with Tosh Cloud coming in, I think you get a little bit more a refined version of that. Someone who has played in the WNBA, helped a team win a WNBA championship. I mean, there you go with the Freddie glove. Is it Freddie Krueger, right? I don't know. I don't really watch horror films. But Jay was a massive presence. You can see much respected here. We actually have an interview that we did with Sherrod in the offseason that never quite got airtime. So we'll play that and we'll make sure we have that up on the YouTube channel. There she is with KB. Just a good energy, good overall person. The end of the road for now. Does that mean that, this is the end of the road forever? Is there possibility to bring Jay back? Maybe. And I think there is a world in which you could see Sherrod fitting into this squad. It just wasn't meant to be. And I do think that in some ways the injuries helped push the issue. But let me know what y'all think. Hey, Damien. Damien says Jalen Sherrod shouldn't have been waived. It should have been Talbot. That wasn't going to happen, fam. And again, Talbot gives you more flexibility. This team is desperate for size. And that's just not something that Sherrod was going to be able to bring this team. Sherrod is a solid shooter, but I think we've seen Talbot making the right decisions. Also, why would you waive a person that you just acquired? That was another thing, and I talked about it when I started the stream. I just you want veteran leadership. You want someone who can shoot the ball well. And, Steph Talbot is not huge among the trees, but she does give you some length and size. And that is something that Jonathan Kolb has been pretty clear on with regard to sorry, Brian just sent me a message, so hold on. With regard to that's how he's trying to build this squad, is that he wants length. So it just wasn't gonna be a situation in which we were going to keep Sherrod. I like a lot of the tools that she brings. And they're not what the Liberty need at this particular time. They're just not. Amir's saying, if we had 12 dogs with Jalen's energy, we wouldn't be getting off to a slow start. I mean, possibly. And I do like that energy. And even before Tosh Cloud was on the squad, I think that the team could have utilized that a little bit more, to be honest. It's just not something that she was able to show. She doesn't have the height, but she has the sandpaper and grit in abundance. I absolutely agree. But Sherrod has energy. Talbot lacked post player size, and she doesn't score a lot, and she doesn't defend well. I don't know what to tell you, Damien. I mean, you always put me in these situations where I said what I said. I don't know. There's nothing else for me to say. It didn't make logical sense to let Talbot go. If that were the case, why would they have brought her on in the first place? And if that's the argument that you want to make, you can make that argument. Also, I don't know where this, Talbot is washed is coming from. I thought she did, she did what she needed to do in the games that she played. Al Page saying, in Jonathan Kolb we trust. I mean, let's actually, let's pull it up here. Because yes, let's say this with the caveat. Some of this has to do with, minutes, right? And how much time, how many minutes she was going to get. So, she scored 10 points in the game against Dallas. That was a loss. 3 points against Minnesota in 18 minutes. 5 points against Connecticut in 22 minutes. And she didn't score in the last game versus Connecticut. She has 12, 14. She's already got, upwards of 20 rebounds. She's got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. She's got over 10 assists in the last 5 games for the New York Liberty. So if you're saying that, she's not scoring, well, who besides our main players consistently scores 20 points on this team? But she's getting more minutes than Sherrod. She gives different looks than Sherrod can possibly give you. And, you know what, Damien? Just say you don't like the team. I don't know why you come on here every single time and it's almost like you're miserable. I don't know why you're miserable. I don't know why you love to hate or hate to love the New York Liberty, man. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. So I don't know. But Brian's here, so maybe he can help me decipher this. Be the Damien Whisperer. B-Dog, how we doing?
What up?
What's good in the neighborhood?
Not bad. Just relaxing. It's nice out here today, so it's pretty solid. I have a little bit of echo, so I got to take care of that. But everything is solid.
All good, all good. Yeah, we're just getting into. I mean, it's one or the other. It's either love to hate or hate to love. I don't know. Maybe both, or both at the same time. Maybe. But we're talking about Jalen Sherrod.
Hmm.
You know, and the news officially official. It's something, Brian, that we kind of knew was coming, right? We talked about it, we broke it down because we knew there weren't enough roster spots, which I will say a lot of people want to pit Talbot versus Sherrod. To me, that's not even a start. That's a non-starter. It's a, I mean, it's no shade on Sherrod, and I think the choice is pretty obvious, pretty clear. Now you can make an argument. Did the New York Liberty need to bring in Stephanie Talbot? I think that's a valid argument. But deciding between Talbot and Sherrod, I don't know. That, like, to me, that doesn't seem like it's really much of a discussion, Brian. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I would say this is the second time Jalen has been sort of caught on the back end of a bad CBA for roster spots because last year they didn't want to waive her at the very end. They wanted to keep her. Like they loved her in training camp in 2024. And then at the end, they were like, the size here is you got to go, unfortunately. And since she was undrafted, there was nothing there that made it tenable for her to stay there. And then this year, because I remember when we talked about it 2 weeks ago, we were discussing, oh, Stephanie Talbot's here. Is it going to be a long term thing? Is it going to be a short term thing? And then while we were away, the entire forward room went on injured reserve. So there wasn't much more that you could do. And I think if you asked me this before everyone got hurt, I'd be like, okay, it's a little bit closer, but with Stewart gone for who knows how long, Kennedy Burke with a calf injury, and we saw for the men, Erica, you were in Oklahoma, like for the men's final, a player who played through a calf injury. Next thing you know, he's laid out on the floor with a torn Achilles. So you're
Right.
going to need to be
Exactly.
you're going to need to be as close to conservative as humanly possible and make sure that Kennedy is 1000% ready to go because if her Achilles blows, her her her, her regular season is messed up, her 2026 is messed up, her play in Turkey is messed up. So you have to really look out for the player to ensure that you're not limiting their not just their safety, but their earning potential here and abroad.
100%. And I know you said you wanted to, I'll let you finagle. I'll give you some time here. Varnell says, hey, what's good in the hood? Al Page. I mean, exactly. Are we forgetting why we cut Sherrod? I mean, I'm not. I'm not. But exactly. You get Emma Meesseman. Like, again, I agree with also what Amir is saying here. It's a false equivalency, apples to oranges, and that's a distraction from the big move, which, again, Damien, you were right. I was wrong. And I'm going to talk to Emma and be like, Emma, why you give me bad information? No, let me stop. I am curious, though, the evolution of her thought process here. But you know, you get Emma Meesseman, and Brian, you said it. I had said it earlier before you hopped on. And I don't want to repeat what you said, but everything that Brian said, plus we have not seen Niara Sabali, and now Satu's also. You know, I don't want to speculate. I'm not sure, and I don't think that either one are related. But let's just talk about New York here. We do know that Niara also has been plagued with injuries. These go back to even before, right, Oregon. And so when you think of how to finagle not just significant player injuries, Jonquel Jones coming back from an ankle injury. I mean, we saw it took Sabrina Ionescu several years to get right from an ankle injury. Niara a little bit banged up. We've seen Leo go down for a little bit in addition to her being away for Eurobasket. And this is a New York Liberty squad that, yes, they do have guards or wing, kind of, hybrid players, including Talbot, that give you length, but they don't give you size in the same way that Jones does, that Sabali does. And now they have them a Meesseman, and not a moment too soon, Brian. I mean, because I mean, of course, we'll talk about the Connecticut games, but even before Connecticut, who was it? Dallas?
Yeah, Dallas.
Dallas. I mean, Sabrina in particular, I was like, oh, I was a little concerned. I was like, she's being asked to do a lot. And it's not that it wasn't that those are things that she can't do, Brian, and you already know where I stand. I firmly believe that she should be doing this. Jingle Jangle gave her the keys, been giving her the keys a long time ago. It wasn't a matter of that. It was that it was a road trip. It was that they had back to backs. And on top of that, they weren't necessarily performing well. So there's a level of frustration that comes in. To me, and we'll talk about Sabrina a little bit more, but there was a certain level of maturity as they were going through that 4-game losing streak that I do think is promising. It was not fun to watch. It wasn't fun to watch. And there were definitely some, they had, what was it, at least a 40-minute meeting. It was that Dallas
I
game,
thought my
right?
computer broke when that happened. I was like, did the Zoom? Like, it's either my Zoom was broken or I've suddenly been disappeared from post game press and no one told me. So I was like,
Yeah, that was, they needed to shore some things up. And yes, the injuries were a part of it, Brian, but you and I have spoken about this all season. It wasn't just the injuries during that 4-game losing streak. They were mentally gassed. I don't want to say checked out necessarily, but it's almost like, when you're kind of tired mentally, physically, or emotionally, and your brain and your body just don't sync up. One is always going faster than the other, and it's not always, it's like, okay, my brain's moving faster, so let me, and you can't ever get your balance. Like, I know I've felt like that. I feel like that more days than I wish to admit to.
yeah, it felt very much like like you said, it's like a lag almost, where it's like, oh, you're thinking of doing it, but then all of a sudden you just lose your balance, or you're holding something, you just drop it out of nowhere, and it's like, why did that happen? It felt like that, and that Dallas game, I would say probably that first half was the most embarrassing display of basketball I've seen from a Sandy team in New York in years. Like, the worst I can think of was that Camp Day game in 2022 when the Aces knocked them around in Barclays, and then in the post game, the Aces were turning up, and who joined them? Ellie the Elephant. That's how bad it was for Liberty that day.
Oh my
And
God.
I would say that this losing streak put forth a lot of the problems you've talked about with the group, like the lack of rebounding. Like, I wrote about it after Friday's game. There's no reason on earth this group should be 12th in the league in rebounding. Like, that should never happen. Like, and it got to a point, JJ was saying in post that she's on the perimeter, so she can't get on the glass like that. And I thought back to something I think Leo might have said a while ago when JJ came, I think when JJ was out, where she was like, sometimes we just are like, hey, John, go get those boards. And if JJ's on the perimeter, someone else got to go get it. Like, someone has to really put a hat on a hat to get on the glass, because Connecticut, great rebounders with Anissa Ono was really good at it. So it was a situation where a season long bad habit manifested itself in a really gnarly way on Friday night. And then Monday, just the idea of them not being locked in. And also, as Cindy said in post game Wednesday, the coach now told them specifically, hey, Dallas doesn't suck. Like, they are a talented group. You need to be prepared, and they weren't prepared to start. And it was a first half that was abominable. Defensive lapses, just like lags, getting defensive rebounds, wide open lanes to the basket, just everything that is wrong with it with a championship level team we saw on full display. And it being like the only game on the marquee that night, so everyone's watching you make a fool of yourself on ESPN, and it's like, wait, guys, I know you're better than this. Like, it's like the parent who sees their kid cutting up, and it's like, you don't act like this in the house. Why are you acting like this in front of and in company? Like, you know better. Stop doing this. And that first half was so bad, and the effort was so like disappointing and unbecoming of a good team and a contender, that a 40-minute meeting was needed. Like, they played better on Wednesday in Minnesota. They were awful Friday, but interestingly, Sabrina was like, I think because Maddie asked her, she's like, "Yo, you guys are talking about playing Liberty basketball. What happened?" And she's like, "Oh, we were playing Liberty basketball. We just lost." And I'm like, be that as it may, that's how you. If you're the expert when it comes like effort, because you're actually doing the effort, and I'm just like watching you do the effort, so I can't be like, "You're not trying," and she's like, "I am." Like, it's off base for me to say that, but it's like, guys.
I mean, and again, so I couldn't remember it. Yeah, of course it was the Minnesota game. Like, we've been anticipating the Minnesota rematch, and of course the Kathy and Company gave us that matchup when Meesseman wasn't ready to go yet, and we had all of the front court injured. But yeah, I mean, with regard to that, I think that there is something to, and again, it might not always look that way to us, to your point, Brian, but there is something to when a team is like, you know what, we were doing what we wanted to do and we just didn't execute, shots didn't fall, whatever the case is. That's different than your shots are falling, but you can't get stops. That was kind of, what game was that? That was, who did they lose to before Dallas, Brian?
The Sparks at the gun.
Oh gosh.
That was another one. Boy.
The fact that I tried to really erase that from my memory, if they had gotten, I don't know, just five more stops, Brian, at literally any point of that game, they would have won. It wouldn't have been pretty, but they would have won that game. And I was like, who was it? And then you said it. I was like, oh yeah, I didn't forget. I just didn't want to remember. I didn't want to remember. Listen, we're gonna get into them keys. I don't know why I'm still being asked this, because like hello, the thumbnails. I don't even know, but we're gonna talk about them keys. Because yeah, I just I don't know what else to say. Like, you don't have to believe me, believe her stat line. Who has the most 30-point? See, now we're gonna do it. So now y'all got me worked up. Who has the most 30-point games this season, Brian? Not on the Liberty, in the league. Who's that?
The 2020 number one draft pick.
Who was within 1 point of her career high just the other day, Brian? Who's that?
The two-time 3-point shootout champion.
Who, pray tell, Brian? Joined Nafisa Collier as a player of the month.
3-time all WNBA 2-guard.
And did she do it from the perimeter, Brian? Or was she kind of getting in that midi range? Like, I don't know.
Only 1 3-point make on Sunday.
Jingle effing jangle. Please. Like, yes. And also, if you're going to put my whole government name out there, just notice that I put the L in there. Respect my name. Erica Lindsay Ayala. Erica L. Ayala. Not just Erica Ayala. That's some other Puerto Rican lawyer from Miami. Use my whole name and come correct. Yeah, we're going to see. We're already seeing. What is there to see? Jingle effing jangle. When Jonquel Jones was out, who stepped up? Stewie's out. What? Stewie's just magically calling plays from the bench? I mean, honestly, I'm gonna step off my pedestal here for a moment. I could see that. I could see that, Brian. And there is leadership that Stewie has, for sure, 100%. But let me have this. Let me have this moment. Let me get back on my pedestal here. I don't know how you see what Sabrina Ionescu was doing with limited rest. She and Tosh are the only players to have missed only one game each. 1 or 2 for Sab. Something less than 3.
Yeah.
I thought it was more than 1 for Sab for some reason. She missed
I think it was the one. And then she did like turn her head.
Well, yeah, because a neck injury will mess you up real bad. Yeah, and then you could tell she was doing the suction therapy because she had it all on her neck and her shoulder. Yep. Like, this is someone who, again, don't, because if I say it, y'all just gonna hate. Not all of y'all, but the haters know who you are. Becky Hammond said should have been first team last season, and I agree. I agree. I already told you only one person from the media voted her as most improved. That was yours truly right here, and I stand on business. I know who won, and I'm not hating on her either. Love that for her, and I said what I said. And who is benefiting for the fact that Sabrina Ionescu was one of the most improved players in the WNBA and definitely on the New York Liberty. Ba-ba-bong! The New York Liberty. Liberty Bibberty. If you know, we're not giving her the keys, Brian, then who do you think, Brian? Like, if this was a team absent of Sabrina, not because of injury, she just didn't exist. Who was stepping up? Who was doing it? Jalen? That was mean. I shouldn't have thrown shade like that. It wasn't going to be Jalen. It wasn't going to be Stephanie Talbot. I know y'all like to hate on that. Who is it going to be, Brian? Who else was there?
Wasn't going to be nobody else, because yesterday that's I'm not losing this game today, guys. I'm just going to make everything, and then y'all just follow along, and then I get you there, and she got him there. And to just sort of like branch a little bit on yesterday, I posted it on, I think, on the Skyline. Like, everything mid-range and rim is so good, because that's where the score is really sort of like manifesting, because you can really camp out from three, but then if that's not available, what's your next thing? And for Sab last year was that floater. This year, getting to the rim a lot more, really sort of like following the vision that Jonathan Cope had for her as far as like her off-season improvement plan, getting in that mid-range area, consistently getting to her spot, being active on defense, and I would say also like not backing down from the challenge, because Bria Hartley was cutting up yesterday, and Sab was like, no, you're not about to do that.
100%. Her maturity, I think, has shown beautifully, Brian, in the last 6-7 games.
Also,
a lot of people say again. Let me finish this. Her maturity has shown through. You know, it's just the part of giving her the keys. And I told y'all this. Al Page just put it down here too. I told y'all that she was going to have a transformational year, that this was her year. I told y'all she came in focused. Her body was good. Yes, we talked about the neck issue for a little bit. She came in focused. And just like last season, although last season it was because she was on the other side of all of the Olympics, her first ever, she has come in laser focused at the time where this team needed a leader, because the person who everyone looks to, whether it's the right move or not, and that's been sometimes the problem, right, Brian, with this team, everyone always looks to Stewie, especially because Jonquel Jones, we said this early, if the first, 5 games were indicative, if there was going to be an MVP candidate, also, just want to put that out there, if there was going to be an MVP candidate from the New York Liberty, it was going to be JJ. Then she got hurt, wasn't an all-star, and we had to wait and see. Stewie is going, we talk about it all the time. Stewie does what Stewie does. And what that is anything that the team needs. She even took them to throw, because that's what it's called, to throw pottery. Because that's what Stewie does. She's a connector. She's in her Sage era. I don't want to say, it's the fine wine, it's the Sage era, it's the Sankofa, I'm going to reach back and bring somebody with me era. I'm just saying, it is what it is. It is what it is. And Sabrina's right there to pick up all of it. Now, I don't know if this is, I wasn't sure if this is where you were going to go, which is why I was like, let me go off, Brian. But we know we got something cooking for you, Albert. When it comes to this, Brian.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my thing's off. Let me bring it down a little bit. I would say that there really does need to be a day where Leo could use like a breather because she's like, but I think this is where minutes totals may be a little bit deceptive, but the greater context tells the story, in particular to a player like Leo, because she flew in late because she was playing championship level Euro basketball. She's here for a bit, then she leaves to do more tournament ball, more high stakes minutes, flying back from Europe back to the States and immediately thrown back in. And now it's her hand is a little bit banged up, like Sandy said it herself, like she's tired. Like she slid up to the four when Stewie was out and Emma wasn't here in the States. So it's a lot of heavy lifting for a player who's really good and doesn't back down from the challenge. But it's one of those things where it's like, you don't have to be my bravest soldier, Leo. You can rest. We've got you. And I think basically, especially yesterday when Beck Gardner gave some really good minutes, I wouldn't be opposed to just being like, hey Leo, we're gonna keep you to like 15, 16 minutes tonight. Beck is handling it. Stephanie Talbot's here. We got that depth. Like you can just sit down for a while. But I will say more to Albert's point about Leo. I think when she's dialed in, like she allows this group to be like the most fully actualized version of themselves because she's just like we talk about it all the time. She does everything at such a tremendously high level, and especially for like a low usage role player, like having someone who can spot up and knock down those threes, someone who can break people down off the dribble, someone who can be that second, that third, fourth post option. Like that allows so much flexibility. And now with Emma here, and presumably if Stewie's back before the playoffs start in mid-September, you have a chance where you can run like gigantic lineups. Like you're 6 foot and up everywhere. And that level of versatility is so unprecedented. And if they make it to the championship round and they see a really good Minnesota team who got to some business yesterday, which we'll talk about in the newsletter coming up, like you see the vision of what Jonathan Cole wants basketball to be, and it's a vision that I think we both align with, where players who can play multiple positions, players who could do a little bit of everything, players who are long, super athletic, so like really good connectors across the board. Like they sort of check every box you want, and then you have the lead machine guard, Sabrina, coordinating everything, getting to what she needs to do. Someone that ain't gonna back down from a challenge. Like she's hurt, she's out there, she's got one hand, that thing's still going up. Like, because I'm not backing out from a fight. Like you need that for a championship team, and I think just to sort of like swing back to the Sabrina of it all. I think because we've seen her for like 5-6 years now, like she's really grown into this role, and she's grown into that leadership. It's so
If she's
hard.
grown into it, Brian, does that mean that she's improved? Would you say that she's improved year over year? Is that something that you would say?
Could we most
most
I mean, like I'm gonna get to that, but yes, you're right. There has been growth, and that's what you want to see in someone who has MVP potential, is that they are growing year over year. Again, do not take my word for this. Go listen to Roz call a game. Listen to the Connecticut Sun broadcast team on Sunday. I didn't listen to Friday's game, so I cannot vouch for Friday. Go listen to what they have said. Go listen to Tarika Foster Brasby. And if y'all watch me on CBS Sports, you know Tarika and I like low-key beef. Not like Damien and I beef, but we low-key beef. And we don't agree on a lot. Go listen to what other people are saying. Everyone, just like Brian just said, is seeing the growth year over year in Sabrina. Period.
Yeah, and I think, we talked about with Sab especially, like the defense was bad in 2022, 23, and 21. Now,
Unquick.
Mhm. Like now, like we see active hands, we see her getting to her spot. She can body up. Like she's
she's
not
not
the player where you could just sort of like, oh, we're gonna target her because she's the weak link. If teams target her, it's because they want to tire her out because she's so good on the other end and she's capable on this end too. Like that's where you see the evolution from just being, oh, scoring guard, do this and that. Now, all around player who can stay on the court, who can play 37, 38 heavy minutes. And, even yesterday, the Sun were not making it easy. Like, their record is whatever, but Lucas is pointing it out to me. Like, this team has been better over the past month. And amazingly enough, their point differential is still negative, but it is better than the championship contending Phoenix Mercury. So they're doing something right over there. So it's like, it ain't, just 5 cats off the street where she's cutting up. Like, those are professionals playing really hard, good, talented players like a Sanaya Rivers, who's excellent. Marina Mabry is very good. Morrow's solid. Like, there's talent on that team. And Sab really was like, okay, we got our butts kicked the night before. Let's make sure we go home on a happy note, and then we sort of start building it back up the right way.
100%. I think I figured it out. Damien, I don't think you understand. This is an assumption I'm making. I don't think you understand how we set up the podcast, right? We have topics that we discuss, okay? These are discussion topics. Because prove you wrong, I don't have to prove you right or wrong on this. It's documented who I picked preseason for MVP. I've been consistent in saying the same name for MVP. I am making a case for an additional player to be in an MVP conversation. Why? Because the player deserves for her game to be broken down. Why? Because unfortunately, including with Jonquel Jones, like we just talked about, there have been injuries this season that, if we want to keep it a buck, might change how people vote MVP come time to vote MVP. So that's what we do here. We set up conversations, and then we use the context of the games, the situation of where we are in the standings, aka in the season, to have a conversation. Okay? Thank you so much. So I don't have to prove you right or wrong, sir. The cream will rise. And I, as always, will share my vote. But go to cbssports.com, look up Erica Ayala, please, Erica L. Ayala, and see who I picked. See who I picked for MVP. However, my MVP candidate is out right now with a sprained ankle. So the next person, logically, on the list should be, likely, Brian, the next highest scoring player, which would be A'ja Wilson. Now, there are people, I disagree with this vehemently. There are people, Brian, who will not vote for a person to win MVP if they are not on a winning team or one of the top teams. Now, that hasn't stopped A'ja Wilson in the past. As a matter of fact, she bucked the trend, and I was so happy for it. I'm like, yes, please. Let's give people some respect. But for the people, Brian, who refuse to relent and will only vote for an MVP, who only give an MVP vote to someone on one of the top 2 teams. If they're not voting for someone from Minnesota, the second best team right now is who, Brian?
A podcast. Liberty fan.
Okay, and who's the third leading scorer right behind Wilson in the entire league, Brian?
Starting guard. University of Oregon. Number 2.
It's Sabrina Ionescu. So that's why we're talking about it. Because she deserves to be a part of the conversation for MVP. I've said at times maybe Satsu would be a part of that conversation. That has changed, unfortunately. We don't really know why. I have said Alyssa Thomas. I think Alyssa Thomas should always be in the conversation. She's had some injuries. And again, Phoenix and what they're doing now, will that overshadow? For some people it will, and I think that's a little sad. But for some people it will overshadow. So if MVP and the conversation for MVP usually includes the best player on the best team or the best teams, top scoring players, players that are breaking records, personal bests, franchise bests, league bests, then guess who indeed fits the brief. Sabrina Ionescu, which is why Damien and company, we're talking about Sabrina Ionescu, compounded with the fact that I've told you, as Al has told you in the chat, that this year seems, yes, it is a continued improvement. It's a continued improvement. Also, in case it's not clear, someone who has improved year over year and is one of the best players, I think it goes to say that they are improved, which is why they now could be in a conversation for MVP. So I don't have to decide. There are multiple things that we can hold space for. Most people can hold space for multiple things. Fee is absolutely the front runner, Al. Thank you. Absolutely the front runner, without question.
Al, that's the plus one at the end.
Finals MVP, there's a lot that has to happen. And MVP overall is not kind to guards. And I don't really know why.
I'm trying to
know
think.
Why.
Was the last guard to win or was Maya classified as a guard?
See, and that's the thing. I would say Maya. I guess I have to look back. Maya seems like a cheat code at guard. At like a 1 or 2, that's a cheat. Like, but also who? Okay, if we think about it, Waylon was the 1, right?
Yeah.
Who was the 2 on that squad?
I think Maya was then Moni was the
because you had Fouls, you had Brunson, and Augustus.
Moan.
I mean, maybe between Augustus and Moore.
Yeah.
But Augustus has a little bit of height on Maya, no?
Mm-hmm. I think so. Yeah. Say.
Anyway, that's an interesting question. I listen, that's why we're having this conversation, Al, because I think she deserves to be a part of the conversation. And I hate to put it this way, I really do. Because y'all know I don't like being wrong. In case you didn't know, if you listen to any portion of this episode for 5 minutes, you know I will clap back. When I feel like my opinions and reporting is not being respected, I will clap back. But I hate to say it, Brian, but when you have Nafisa Collier that's going to miss time, she's going to miss time. Does she miss enough time to open a door, to open a lane for someone else? And that's a big question. And I don't know that we can answer that right now because we just got the update. But if for some people, if for the voting population, the door is now a little bit open and Fee is not the presumptive front runner by however many games she misses, I'm telling you right now, the way I see it lining up, there are 2 top options if the door is open. Asia Wilson, Sabrina Ionescu.
Yep. I would agree. And I think that on the Asia portion of if she's able to get that playoffs, I might just be like, hey, LVCVA, that $100,000, throw an extra 5 for Asia, please. Like, I need you to do that for her because she's carrying. Boy, like
I have about carrying water. She's carrying like Vegas pool loads of water for the Aces right now.
Yeah, I have so many Aces comments, and just about all of them are negative outside of Asia. But for we'll have a Las Vegas Aces podcast where I'm like, hey, what they've been doing since the 2023 finals, I'm like, y'all not moving kind of right with y'all team building. But that's for another day. But I will say for the Asia of it being.
Brian, why you do that? Why you bait me like that? Don't bait me like that. They don't love each other. Don't do it. And Varnell, I want to get back to this comment. I see your comment. I'm actually going to start it because I want to get back to this for sure. But go ahead.
Yeah, and I think that for Asia, if she's able to like drag that team to like a 5 or 6 seed, I gotta be like, hey, if she got that team with the big acquisition now being on the bench, it's like, I don't know, man. You might look. you like you
like you.
you got those MVPs. I might have to be like, you are the greatest I've ever seen, carrying that list of people over there, and then we figure it out. I think for AT, like I feel like Alyssa, she's had so many all time great seasons, but she's sort of like stuck because other players are having those all time seasons and their teams are just a smidge better. Like, because I think if you asked me a month ago, or even like 2 months ago, Satsu's out, Ka's out, AT's got feelings at three. That's MVP, right? In another year, probably. But look at what the FISA Collier's doing. They didn't lose a home game until like 2 weeks ago. Like that's nuts. And now it's if it's not Fee, it's oh my god, Asia's having another one of those. You write a whole book about a season kind of good again now, and then if you don't want to put Asia, it's oh wow, look at Sabrina, she's playing so amazing well. She leads the league in scoring after All-Star break, and she couldn't turn her neck for like 2 weeks, and she's still cooking people. Like At big dog, you my
My
dog,
dog,
but that
but that
MVP, I'm
MVP.
sorry, man. I hate to do it. Like I'll check my ballot, but I'll look away as I scroll past their name to somebody else.
Dang. Yeah, AT, when she had the most number one votes and still didn't win, that's when we knew. That's when we knew, man. That hurt my heart. That really hurt my dang heart for her, for the game. Just because she plays, you're right, she plays how she plays, and it took a while for people to, I think, acknowledge her game. And then by the time they did, like you said, you got Asia, like you said, man, if Asia can carry this Aces team into a respectable playoff spot, we gonna have problems, Brian. It's gonna be warfare on WNBA Twitter, even though I don't live on that spot anymore, because people gonna get ugly, pulling hair, just trying to figure out who deserves to be MVP. And
Wait,
then
Erica,
don't whoever loses, if it does come down and come close to those two, forget about it.
there's a name.
Revenge tour.
There's one other name I forgot to mention, and I can't believe that I slipped past her name because we talked about. I think we mentioned it in passing. Alicia Gray. Like
Listen, you want to
east,
talk about dark horse underdog that deserves much more respect. You're right. Actually, I mentioned Tarika, and Tarika's been talking about Leash for a minute now, so I got to give her credit and props for that. But you're right. Atlanta overall is a team where like sleep on them at your own risk. Sleep on them at your own risk. All right, Courtney, thank you for clearing that up. That sounds right. It's just like Maya is such a big two. I'm like, dang, oof, oof. That's crazy. No wonder they got 4 championships. Like, come on. Hello, Tulip. All right, Damien, listen, and everyone else. If she's not a part of the conversation, I want you to put in the chat. What does sis have to do? Like, I need you to explain it to me. I'm gonna put this on you, brother. Put in the chat what is missing. What is missing? I'm very curious. I'm very curious. This is absolute. I mean, I've been saying this for a while, and that's why, like, getting Nalissa Smith, I guess, was something. It just wasn't enough. I'm a little perplexed. Not a little. I'm a lot perplexed by what's happening in Vegas. And it actually reminds me of a certain hockey team that I cover. And I'll put it this way. It seems to me, Brian, that over in Vegas, somewhere in the higher ups between the coaching staff, the general manager, president, executives, ownership, I wonder, as I look at that team, if everyone is on the same page. Not just the players, because I mean, Asia called her team out in a big way the other day. Yeah, I don't know if you saw that. She was like, what did she say? She said something like, if this is the effort that y'all are gonna bring, don't even bother coming back to the gym. like after that Minnesota loss, she was like, don't even come back. Don't even come back because we don't need you. And I was like, dang. But she's not wrong. But she's not wrong. So there's that, right? But I think, Brian, also for me, I just wonder if they're in that yucky middle where even the leadership, like I'm talking front office leadership, isn't quite on the same page.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I remember we talked about last year. I think it was I was in Minnesota when it happened, but it just feels like a group that's like exhausted, and I mean exhausted in the sense of like this is the dating back to 2019, the core three. It would have been four with Plum, but the core three of 2021. The core two of Wilson and Young, and then 21, the core three of Gray, and then Hammond makes the four. Like it's been deep runs every year, and it feels like at a certain point, you just sort of like can't tap that reserve button anymore. Like you can have those moments, like because even last year in game two against the Liberty, we saw them have that get out the sharpshooter moment where they're back in the fight, and then they took it down to the buzzer. But then game four, they just completely ran out of gas. And I think, for this year, they've had so many just like blowout losses. Like it's one thing to lose, it's just another to lose by 30. Like they got we talked about a newsletter a few months back when the Valkyries just dominated them on national TV and they were just completely non-competitive. And Becky was like, I can coach like execution. I can't coach heart. Like that's like we have a problem here. And then you lose by 50 in your own house on the only game on TV on ABC, ESPN with the whole world watching. Like you let Kayla McBride set a WNBA record in your house and everyone's dancing and singing along to music during the game, like your opponent and an opponent that you are going to have to beat in a championship situation. Like they see you as so much of a non-threat. They can just sort of like dance and shimmy and sing Pink Pony Club and all that goodness in your building. Like it's one thing to lose. It's another to have people style on you. Like they styling on you. Cheryl wouldn't even like. She's like, "Oh, I don't need to play my number 2 pick from 2 years ago. So what? What are y'all gonna do about it?" And it's like, dang, like y'all getting smoked on national TV and with no fight, no execution, no effort, and just those bad losses. And just to think about it a little bit more, like everything they've done just hasn't hit. Like their biggest thing was okay. KP want to leave out. She want to like spread her wings, do some new stuff. Cool, we got it. Okay, let's get up. We get what we think is a like for like replacement with Jewel. First game of the year. Like I was there. I think I talked about it on the podcast. I'm like, yo, she's just standing in the corner all day. Like, why isn't she's not involved in the action? Nothing for her in the elbow. She's like, no drives to the rim. Just like posted up in the right corner all game while Age just battling out with John Paul Jones and Brianna Stewart. And I'm like Becky, like you see her, run some stuff for her. Like you gotta, like Jewel's not gonna step on anyone's toes because she's not the big dog here. H. Wilson is, so you gotta get her moving. And then now we have Jewel 0 for 10, like it was a loud 0 for 10. And then they got blown out by a team that they're fighting for position with in Indiana without Caitlin Clark on national TV, got dominated again, and it's like. Got like what is happening here. And then now she's coming off the bench and I hate to like money watch in this sense, but Jules, I think she's the highest paid player in the league at 250K. Like and that was your whole thing this offseason was Jewel is the pickup. That's gonna refresh the group. That's gonna get us back to where we need to go. Because last year, I think we talked about it, Asia was like, I ain't feel it going into last year. And now it's okay. We changed the energy. This is the big pickup, and she ain't doing but a bunch of nothing out there. Like, and now she's coming off the bench where she's looking a little bit better. But that can't. Your biggest pickup and the replacement of your franchise icon guard cannot be your sixth woman. Like, it doesn't work that way. And you consider that that is the highest paid player in the league. That is the person who's supposed to be the secondary optional offense, someone that's supposed to take a little bit. You're supposed to just like the whole bit of super team, super people, whatever, is that your number one shouldn't have to do everything. And for the second straight year, number one has to do everything. And she's got to defend for y'all. She's got to lead an assist. She's got to get on the board. She got to give you 25 every night. She got to shoot 60%. Like, she got to block 3 shots. And everyone else is like, all right, except Jackie Young. Jackie's dope. Jackie Young, big dog. I feel you.
Okay, I want to stay there for a minute because Tulip has commented. A few people have on what Sabrina needs to do. Country Notary. I said Courtney, but listen, you got me. I was like, wait, that is not how you spell Courtney. My bad, fam. You know how your brain just like you go shortcut. I was like, oh, it's Courtney. No. Country Notary. My bad. I think this is a comment on Sabrina Ionescu. Let me know. Perimeter defense and solid shooting guard. This is interesting. If this is about Sab, solid shooting guard, I thought coming in when Sabrina came into the league that she was going to be a proper shooting guard. That was my biggest question mark with the New York Liberty drafting her. You know, you have the number 1 pick, you go best player available without question. Yes, Sabrina, best player available, 100%. And to me, it was like, but how does this fix the point guard situation that was in desperate need of fixing at that time for the New York Liberty? So I just don't know that we've seen Sabrina be able to play that true 2 at any point in time in her W career. And so I hear what you're saying. And I think this is a case for why she, at minimum, is looking like MVP for the New York Liberty, jingle jangle, like I told y'all, because she has thrived playing that one position. And someone up higher up said, I'll try to find the comment later, but was talking about how, especially in Connecticut, and you've mentioned how Bria Hartley was playing, but all teams, what do they do if she can get to, across the timeline, so to speak, with no pressure, which is very rare that she does? She's immediately being met with a trap. Immediately. And if you want to talk about just in-game or in-season improvements, that's one thing Sab has learned and figured out how to do. And she does it by utilizing her other offensive tools. There are games where all she's doing is passing because that's what's available to her. And then she'll find her shot. She'll hunt her shot later. There are other times where she's taking shots. And you want to talk about her efficiency. Someone, man, Brian, listen. Someone in the chat even put the 1 in 19 stat there.
That's
like, y'all are so tired. Y'all are so tired for that.
That's the one that matters.
She shot the one that matters, not to mention we know now why she was 1 of 19. And I told y'all, like, she has to shoot those. So you want to, I just find it so interesting that efficiency is kind of used as kind of a demerit, but only for certain players. Anyway, I could go on and on about Tina Charles versus Nneka Ogwumike in the MVP race, but we ain't got time for that. Tulip, though, said something. Her efficiency has to improve. So we're hearing it a few times. She has to improve her efficiency, has to ensure that points translate to wins, can't lose 3 in a row to lottery teams, etc. I'm sorry. I like Tulip, I love you more than my luggage. Yes, that is a Steel Magnolias reference. But when you say that your top 3 include Fee, nobody's arguing there, AT, we already talked about that, and Leash. So you're talking about Minnesota, Phoenix, and Atlanta. you know, and a lot of people would put Asia, let's just for argument's sake put Asia in this conversation. I know Tulip, you didn't do that, but I'm going to put Asia in there for all of the reasons that we've already talked about. If Asia Wilson is in the MVP conversation, y'all got to miss me with y'all got to miss me with, you know, you can't be losing to lottery teams, because that's exactly what the Vegas Aces have done.
Yeah. And I think
done that, and Asia's still playing at an MVP caliber clip. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, MVP is not synonymous for perfect. It's most valuable. It is taking into consideration everything, Sophie Cunningham, that the other team scouts against your team. Did you hear her? Anyway,
what?
Listen. I was like,
I'll tell you what.
Listen, we ain't got time for her. We ain't got time for her today. Everything MVP for me takes into account the scout that the entire league has on you. The fact that you may or may not be getting support from your other teammates. And Sabrina, I think another way she's improved is that she used to be reliant on the team to get her shots. That's more when we thought she was playing that 2 position. She can hunt her shots while also not sacrificing touches to Jonquel, touches to Stewie, touches to whether it's KB or Niara or literally anybody else. Like, she can do that now. Like, but y'all gotta, like, if we talking about you can't lose to a lottery team and be an MVP, who's in the race? Fee.
Like, yeah. I think to Tulip's point, there are a couple things I want to sort of take with it. I think the defense at an elite level, like we talked about it a little bit earlier, but like the improvements are there for Sab. And I think those can't go unacknowledged. I think that's critical to the overall arc of Sabrina Ionescu. And I feel like we can't sort of like let that fall to the slide. Like we were mentioning earlier, she was a net negative as recently as 2023. And this comment here, I wanted to grab in particular. The 8 threes and 31%. I want to circle back to yesterday's game against Connecticut in particular. If you know, like we talked about a little bit earlier up top, like if you know your threes aren't there, how are you going to impact the game the other ways? And Sab, getting that mid-range, getting the post. Like, defenses are bringing 2 to you. Who's open on a roll? Jonquel Jones. That's the growth and the evolution, because I think sometimes for players, it's I got to get to my spot. I got to do what I do. But if you know that's not there and you know the group is tired, how are you going to influence scoring in another way? And that part, I think, is especially critical for her. And I think she did a great job of that. And I think, and I think for the Sabrina piece of it, that growth matters a lot, because even against the Lynx, like, she balled out and she almost pulled them through it. And I think, Tulip, I just want to like not quick fast. Like, it's not beef. Like, we just talking. It's cool. I hope it didn't come off that way. Like, we Gucci. Don't worry about that. And I think for the Sabrina piece of it, I think she's made herself a really strong number 2 in the MVP race. And depending on how things play out, I think maybe she could like, I don't think she'll catch Fee, because I think Fee did too much on the front end to really sort of like be far and away. And if she's back in 2 weeks, then she won't be out for like 6 or 8 weeks. So that part really won't impact it too much. But I think for the Sabrina of it, I think that growth matters a lot. And I think for her, the defensive piece is really critical, because it shows the effort, it shows the execution, it shows the attention to detail, it shows all of the things you want out of a superstar franchise player. And I think for Sab, it's been critical for her to do that, because this group has been through a lot this year. Like, they're like, it's a no excuses thing, but then there are moments where they're like, why didn't you play the right way? And she's like, we're missing so many people. What do you want? Like, it rarely comes out, but sometimes it does come out. Like, it's really subtle. Yeah. And I think
looking at the games, I mean, it's like, what does she need to do? Like, that's kind of, again, this is MVP conversation. Some people's end MVP conversations at top 3. We're getting close to that, but I think I kind of go, Brian, from 10. That's a lot. That's a lie. I don't know why I said that. From like 6 to anywhere from 3 to 5. I mean, like, Okay, let's be honest. Has there ever been a 10-player race coming out the gate for MVP? And I'm not just talking about what like certain people and their narrative agenda, maybe people with, I don't know, initials like CB. I don't know. Like I don't know why I said 10. 10 is crazy. 10 is wild. It's never 10. It's never 10. I don't know why I said that. Like, I don't know why I said that. I was trying to be generous. It ain't never been 10. It ain't never been 10. It ain't never been 10. Let's go with 6. That's probably been too much. But 6, right? 6. And then I think you get to your 3 to 5. I think we're in that 3 to 5, but on the back end of it, people are going to start narrowing to their top 3. And I'm not saying that Sabrina, because again, check my record. Brian, when was the first time that I mentioned Sabrina in the MVP conversation this season?
Oh, I'm trying to think back. I know it's been a minute because I know you've been consistent on Sab really sort of taking that big step. I can't pinpoint that exact date, but I know you've been.
That date is today, August 4th.
Yeah.
August 4th. Trick question, because I've never said it before, but I was looking and I was like, it might be time. It might be time to have the conversation. Is she top 3? Probably not. No. Is she top 5? Absolutely. And why am I mentioning it now? Because we are going to start to realistically, the conversation is going to start to switch to the top 3. Even though for everyone, it's really just been one name we've been talking about all season, myself included. Thank you very much. Go check the record. However, with that one person now injured, you know how people get, what have you done for me lately? And I don't think it's right. This is not a Minnesota Lynx podcast, so that's why I'm not taking that approach. But if Fee is out for longer than, I don't know, 4, 6, 8, how many games are even left in the season? They got a little ways to go. They got at least 10. It's more than 10. Look at me with 10. I don't know. 10 just it always stands out. Like 10 is an
proud number.
You know what I'm saying? It's like we get to double digits for the first time. But anyway, that comment was in. Oh, okay. You'll get back at me. But with Fee maybe missing time, I am offering this as a conversation because is it possible that if Sabrina continues to do what she's done on the other side of All-Star, coupled with what she did before All-Star, if she keeps doing that and Fee is out for a significant amount of time, I think you got to think about it. But absolutely, Leisha's still there. AT, for all the reasons you said, is still there. And it's sad because AT absolutely should be top 3. And at the end of the day, unfortunately, the voters have shown us that she's always going to be 3. And that's I will never forgive you. I will never forgive you for that.
Like, I was thinking as we were sort of going through names, there was one person I wish was really sort of in the MVP conversation, but her team has made it so it's probably not. She's not going to be in the MVP conversation. And this is going to come up for you on Tempestache Talk, a podcast for Seattle Storm fans. One Skylar Diggins. Like, I wanted Sky to if you asked me a month ago, I'd have been like, man, we getting Sky on that all W first team. I'm gonna try to like, we should sneak her MVP vote in there somewhere. But the Storm boy, like, I know you got plenty of heat for them coming up this week. But boy, I'll tell you what. That team, man, look, I was like, man, Seattle, y'all doing it. Y'all looking good. Y'all hooping it up. And now I'm like, man, what y'all, like, y'all can't score no more. What y'all did? What y'all?
No more, Brian. No more. Like
Erica, what they cooking up there, man?
No more, Brian. Listen, we've been trying to figure out. You want to talk about, and I did see the comment. I think it was Tulip, and I want to come back to it. We haven't even talked about Meesseman, which is wild. Anyway, we didn't even talk about Meesseman. Listen, we are going to talk more about this on Tempestagi Talk, a podcast, or keeping a local eye on the Seattle Storm, because there's a lot to talk about. But one thing that we've been consistent with, that I've been consistent with on that podcast, is that, I usually say you need a true 1, you need a true 5. In the case of the Seattle Storm, they need a true 2. And also, Craig in our Slack channel actually brought up a really good point talking about their size, their bigs comparative to the field, and that they're not very big comparative. And I was like, that's valid. So yes, but we have more to talk about. Tulip said Sab is top 5 for sure, though, this season. And by top 5, I mean 5th. I mean that. I mean, listen, I understand. Okay, that was in response to the Aces. All right, thank you for clarifying that. Appreciate you circling back. Okay, we are gonna close out talking about Emma Meesseman, but this is just because we've been talking about Sabrina so much. Yes. Okay. Interesting question. Do you prefer Sab at the 1 or the 2? I'm pretty sure earlier in the year, maybe before the season, I was like, put her at the 2. I don't think I feel that way anymore, Brian.
I think this is where lineup puzzle plays comes into play here. Because if the Liberty want to go like super big, you slide Leo to 2, Stewie 3, Emma 4, JJ 5, and Sab 1. Like that's a lineup that does everything imaginable on a basketball court. So I think that's the optimal lineup. I'm like, okay, play 1, you direct it, and then we figure it out. But I've really dug her chemistry with Tosh Cloud this year, because like even in like the Minnesota game, those two were like the engines to sort of like spark the rally throughout the game, and I really love their 1-2 dynamic. So it's a great question. I think I'm gonna try to cheat and say it's opponent specific. Where
if it's hybrid, give her that hybrid.
Yeah. And so, like, if you're playing against a team that's really sort of big and you need to size up, you slide Sab down to the 1. So I think if you have, and I think if you're playing a team that's a little bit smaller, you can sort of like play around a little bit more. And this point is interesting. I want to stay on it right quick. The 2 is deeper than the 1-2 in the W. Thus, if Sab is your 1, you have more two-way off guard. You have more options for two-way off guards in the offseason. That's such a fascinating point. And sometimes John DeCobe pulls stuff out of his hat. And I'm like, how do you make that work? But like, because like right now, I can't envision a big it's like I kind of felt like after 2023, the Liberty were sort of done big game hunting, but then he just pulled Emma Meesseman out of nowhere. So I'm like, maybe I'm wrong, but like right now, August 4th, 2025, at whatever time in your district or neck of the woods, I can't envision a two-way guard that can go hunt and pick up this offseason. Because next year, Benaj is going to be back. Like we'll see how her contract looks, and also more importantly, we don't know where in the heck anyone's gonna. Tulip wants us to dirty Mac on Las Vegas. I'm okay with that. That'll be fun. We could do that.
You'd have to call them the Bruise Crew, like, because they gonna put a hurting on folks. Jack, come on, stop it. That would be crazy. I mean, I don't see that happening. Yeah. And Jackie can be hot or cold, but just from a strength capacity, I'd be like, yeah, Sab, you go on and slide up on that one. Yeah, you go on and slide up on that one.
Big back here to make a shake.
Listen, yeah. I don't want to listen. Okay, now we gotta talk about that hypothetical another time. But you mentioned Emma Meesseman, and first of all, I'm just gonna put this out here. Emma Meesseman, before she took her hiatus, was you want to talk about big game hunting? She'll be the first one to tell you, and she bruises very easy. That child always got bruises on her arms. She bruises very easy, and I felt like she, even in that Connecticut game, like they was coming at her, but Meesseman showed why Meesseman is Meesseman. I think that considering she was very much still learning the team, getting back into her cadence, I thought she looked pretty dang good, Brian.
Mm-hmm. And like, I've never had a chance to talk to Emma. So like, I saw the quote post game. She was like, "Oh, Dexter. So Emma, what do you bring to the team?" Emma, in the most direct voice possible, a body. And I'm like, you know what? You know what, man?
That was exactly what we needed.
Yeah, I'm like, man, you know what? You right. They tired. You here, you right. You right, dog. I feel you. So like I'm gonna enjoy talking to her when I do get media with her. But I think for the on the court piece, like you saw the comfort gradually build throughout the game. And even though like she missed her first couple shots, like you saw the good flow of offense getting her in the paint, getting her those short touches and from like 5-6 feet out. Like having that is going to be so crucial for this team. And I think that for this Liberty team, like I posted it on the Skyline yesterday, the pick and pop with her and Sab is going to be really fun because like Emma has such a really good, she has a really soft touch with the jumper. And I'm like, that part is so crucial. Like she doesn't get sped up. Like it's very in control. She can adjust to any sort of matchup. What about I'll get to oh you see that's a perfect build right there. I'm about to answer, and then Tulip comes in with the answer. I'm like, that's good teamwork. I'll give y'all some digital data from where I'm at right now.
Oh man, yeah, we'll get back to that country. We'll get back to that. But Al saying she looked good. Their chemistry kept getting better throughout the game. It was something that Sabrina also talked. Well, both of them talked about post game, and Emma has familiarity with some of the players on the New York Liberty. Some that are healthy, some that aren't. And like you said, she has a very soft touch. She's got finesse at her size. She always has. That's been, got a very delicate touch, but she's smart. She moves well. I do think that there are post players, especially in quote unquote today's WNBA, that that are maybe quicker than Emma Meesseman. However, quickness and positioning are not always blended together. And Emma Meesseman knows where she needs to be for what her skill set is, and she always gets there. And I'll take that every day of the week. She doesn't work, she's not zipping and zooming around. If you're not paying attention, before you know it, she's just on the block. She just, apparated or something. Like she got light feet. If not the quickest, she got light feet. And you turn around and be like, where you come from? Where you come from? But I have loved Meesseman's game for a very, very long time. So I and you said wherever I am, man, I'm in uptown, baby. Uptown, baby. I'm in the Bronx right now. So I'm gonna make my way to the planet of Brooklyn tomorrow.
Yeah.
Things that I'll be working on to try and get to know a little bit more from the perspective of Emma as well as Jonathan Kolb about this deal, how it came together, all of the quick in the brain. Her screens are, listen, there's probably two players that I just appreciate their screen game. And the fact that they actually played together, I think twice, is criminal. That is Emma Meesseman and Big Mama Steph.
Mama, yeah.
That's my girl. When it comes to screens, like no other.
Big Mama be pancaking people in the screens too. I love it.
Like get your weight up. Like I don't know what to tell you. Listen, yes, this is a big one. Listen, not just because it's Emma Meesseman, but now she's on the New York Liberty. Everyone on the New York Liberty needs to be put in bubble wrap. Everybody. This is an interesting one. What position does Kennedy do her best work? She's been balling this year. Excited to see her back. I'm gonna let you take this one first, Brian.
Sure. I think Kennedy's best work this year has been as that 3, because I think sometimes with Kennedy, like the drives are really underappreciated for her because she's really good. Like she has a really quick first step for her size. Like she's able to really leverage her 3 point success and get those drives to the basket every time. Like it pays. Like she's always been good at that in particular, and now that her 3 point shooting has really sort of gotten to that maximal level, she's really able to parlay that into rim attempts for this team, and is really able to sort of like manage it that way. Also, very quick on defense, positions herself very well. Like when the team is trapping in the high post, when they're doing all these things, Kennedy does a good job of getting to her spots, beating her opponents there, and is really sort of timely with like deflections, getting her hands in there, stuff like that. So I think for KB, I think she's been best at the three this season. When she comes back, I'm really interested to see how it'll work because I think if Stewie's back before the end of the regular season, if it's me, I'm like, big dog, you're not playing that much. Like you're playing a little bit to work off some rust, but you're not playing heavy minutes. And that's where Kennedy comes in, where she get those minutes. But then Emma Meesseman is going to soak up more of those as she's getting her sea legs back in the USA. So I think for Kennedy, she'll get those backup 3 minutes, especially when she comes back. I saw a report from Jackie Powell. I think she's back in a couple weeks or so. So she's making progress. And I think it's gonna be similar to how other players come back from injury, where you sort of like gradually get them back in there because you're not gonna want to play KB like 18 minutes out the jump because calf injuries are weird things and you got to be super careful. And I think she'll get those 3 minutes to spell Leo. She'll slide up on occasion, and that's a pessimistic Mets fan talking court country. Don't worry, like it's life. Don't worry about that. And I think that for this group, if they're able, that one, before we get there, we have to get the CBA done. And will the CBA be done by October 30th? I'm going to say right now at this time, no, but they can get extensions. But the problem with that is if you're Toronto and Portland, you can't plan for anything because you don't know when the heck the league is going to be open for business. And then it's, okay, I have draft, I have expansion draft, I have hire coach, I have free agency, real draft, and who knows who's coming out. We're thinking the top two right now might be Olivia Miles and Lauren Betts. We'll see what it looks like coming in next spring. The draft lottery is going to be in December. Two teams coming in. Who gets what spot? What's it going to look like? Oh, Seattle has LA's pick. Are the Sparks going to make the playoffs? If they miss the playoffs, if that Spark pick is number one, that's going to Seattle. Noel Quinn, if you're still working there, what are you going to do with that pick?
Wow, Brian.
Boy, we've got Tulip has unlocked a fascinating part of my brain where I'm thinking of so many possibilities, and I'll get next time the Storm are in the Liberty neck of the woods, I'll sort of think about them a little bit more and what I think has to happen for Noe to keep her job. And it's a lot going on all at once in this league, and it's going to be. If you thought Messy Mondays were a thing now, get ready for Messy Mondays stretching all the way through the Christmas. Go with how things are going.
Yeah, I do want to just get to this. How do I want to say this? In theory, it's a soft deadline. However, the quotes that I have from the Players Association from May, and then the reporting that I did at All-Star in July indicate that it's not a soft deadline on the part of the Players Association. They want this deal done by October 31. That's a real deadline, is the actual quote. You can check out the article on cbssports.com. And for those who are in our Slack community, I gave you that audio when I got it from Terry Carmichael Jackson in May. So I can post it in there again. But yeah, so yes, they can have extensions, but at least as of the last conversations I've had from the Players Association side, they're not trying to mess around with extensions, which is exactly why they opted out on the first day that they could, because they want to get this done. So anyway, that's just CBA stuff. I think something that, Brian, we are going to explore on blackrosiemedia.com is what Damien's putting here. And that's where Leonie Fibish, that's kind of what I was teeing you up to talk about earlier. But I do think that with Emma Meesseman coming in, and we've alluded to this before, what does that mean for Fibish? What does that also mean for Leo as her role has changed? Yes, because she was inserted into the starting lineup, which we all wanted at the beginning of the season, but also there have been a lot of disruptions to the rotations, and I think it exposed a lot of the newness in Leo's game in the WNBA. You know, because she has a lot of experience elsewhere, but bringing all of that to the W is a different set of tricks. And that's why not just Emma Meesseman's size, not just what she can do, her finesse offensively, but that piece right there, because Emma, she has versatility, but her versatility is exactly where the Liberty don't have it right now, mostly because of injury. And there's no one on that team other than Stewie, if we want to keep it a buck, that has as much, or I think Stewie has more versatility than Meesseman with as much experience as Meesseman. And so I think what Emma opens up is that 4-5 spot, because Emma, and it just allows you to go big in a very different way for the New York Liberty. But to Damien's point, to the point of the New York Liberty, Emma has to stay healthy. The Liberty are in a precarious situation here. They need to stay healthy, and I think Emma can help with that. She's going to buy Stewie time. She's going to buy KB time. She's going to take some of those hard minutes, as we sometimes say, away from Jonquel Jones. That is what Leo also needs to do, not at the 4-5, but really more of the 2-3 or 2-3-4, kind of somewhere in there. She has to be the Swiss Army knife to give Stewie as much time to rest as possible. And Leo can do that. She can do that. I do have confidence that she can do that. I think it's been on again, off again this season for her. And I still have confidence that she can do it. And Brian is going to be exploring that in a feature that we will have on blackrosiemedia.com. Yeah. So yeah, Tulip, I love your question about protections. I'm gonna put that in the parking lot, because I think we should definitely talk about that a little bit later, probably as we're going into playoffs. I think would be a really interesting time to have that conversation. But I do think that Emma changes things for the entire New York Liberty. And I think the odd person out, or it's an easy thing to look at Leonie Fibish and say, oh, well, Leo's game or Leo is being impacted the most. And I think there's a realness to that. However, I don't think that the Liberty can afford to stay stuck there. I think they need to, and I don't know if it's necessarily fair for Leo, but they have to lean into Leo's versatility, because they still need her, especially because, again, they're in that precarious situation. They're not 100% healthy. They need time to get 100% healthy. And can Leo give them some hard minutes in some spots? But I think also, if you're asking that of Leo, and for her to maybe swing between anywhere from 2 to 4, that's not true. Well, maybe 2 to 4. Maybe. And yeah, but then you know who else has to step up, in my estimation, Brian? Beck Garner.
Yeah, like Beck was really good yesterday, and I'm of the mind where if you're gonna start giving people like a few days here and there, I'd like Damien said, I'd rest Leo for a little bit. Benaja's like literally ineligible to play this season, so that part sort of like stick in the bank for 2026. But to the Leo piece, Damien, I agree. Like I would have given her like either Sunday or tomorrow off if I could. Like I know they're shorthanded, but you have Stephanie Talbot here. She's completely fresh. Like Beck Gardner can give you some run at the three, and she's confident. Like we started, like not we because I don't work there. Like they started MJ at the they started MJ at the three for the past week, and she's been okay. So you can really afford to sort of like spot her a few minutes here and there, and then if you're managing Emma's minutes as well too, that's where you run a little bit more Izzy because Izzy's been balling out all season. She's been tremendous. So you can slide her at the 5. If you want to push JJ a little bit more, you can do that. And then if you want to slide Steph Talbot down to 3 and sort of like let her sort of like shine a little bit more and get some more run, I think you can do that as well while giving Leo an extra day. Like you never want to sit your people for a home game. I understand, but if you can get away with it, why not? Because you've got another Dallas is going to be tough again on Friday night. Like we know that their newest acquisition, Diamond Miller, is going to be ready to jump out the window to play because she hasn't got many minutes. So she's going to be on tilt when she suits up for the Wings because she's got a lot to prove. And then no fee next Sunday, but Minnesota's still dangerous all the same with K-Mac, Lance Smith, now Dejanay, Stud Buds, all them folk is out there ready to play. So you're going to need Leo locked in because like last year in the finals, the Lynx thought that they could hide Courtney on Leo, and Leo was like, I'm going to take her right in the post every time. Like, give me that rock. I'll take her in the post. Let me operate a little bit. And then Leo was like, Court would talk a little bit of shit, but Leo just like let it ride. But if they try it again, lay on the feet, bitch, you can post up. Get in there, big dog. You got it.
Yeah, I was just, as you were talking, looking at the schedule again, because I think there's something to what you're saying, especially because they have a home and home with Dallas before they see Minnesota. Mm-hmm. And they won't be 100% likely for Minnesota again. We're assuming, right, we'll have Emma Meesseman, so that will play a role. But I think having a fresh Leo, so do you give her the home game and then rest her on the away game? I mean, they have some flexibility because they're going to see Dallas twice here before they see Minnesota. I just wanted to take a look at the schedule because I was like, I know it's weird. And then they play Minnesota again, too, in short order after Sunday. It's a very, I mean,
Kathy Engelbert.
Kathy. Yeah, I mean, yeah. So with everyone healthy, can you see the Emma addition working? Can they gel and get the yes?
Yeah. They're a seasoned group with a lot of corporate knowledge, and Emma can slide into that pretty quickly. I think by the time the playoffs start, September 13th to 14th, whenever game 1 is for this Liberty team, I think they'll have everything completely lined up the way you want it to be.
And just to reiterate something that we said earlier, Emma has played with Tosh, Stewie, and JJ, right? Yeah. So I just muted you because there's a wicked echo. That was for the Connecticut, soon to be Boston Sun. I don't know. We'll see. Connecticut's trying to keep Connecticut in Connecticut. Make Connecticut again. Okay. I gotta turn off NPR and get back. Gotta get up. Make Connecticut again. If I see that slogan, remember y'all heard it here first. Make Connecticut. Tulip gets me. Oh gosh. Woo! Make Connecticut again. Oh gosh. Woo. Okay. I forgot what I was gonna say. We gotta wrap up, y'all. I do agree, Damien. It's not ideal. It's not ideal. And quite honestly, this team, they've found a level of grit, but that is not championship caliber comparative to the field. I'm just gonna be honest. I'm just gonna be honest. Good news for the Liberty is that Liberty Bibberty did a lot of that while everyone in the league also knew that Emma Meesseman had committed. And I am so glad that I get to be in the house for the game where Emma Meesseman is inevitably going to be asked about what Cheryl Reeves said about her picking wrong. I don't know realistically if we can expect the most refined version, the most healthy version of the New York Liberty, but the fact that they played very competitively against Minnesota with a healthy fee, in that first matchup when we knew they were not even close to 100%. I'm very curious to see what we're going to get on Sunday. And I am truly gutted. I haven't really talked about it because, again, this is not a podcast for Minnesota Lynx fans. We are not singing Pink Pony Club or doing the electric slide on here. But to each their own. Brian, you went off in Slack and you weren't wrong. You talked earlier on the pod about how the Minnesota Lynx were basically just giving it to Vegas in their own barn. And the fact that Fee got hurt in a game like that.
Yeah.
That's tough. You want to talk about an injury that's not good for basketball?
Yeah, man. Like, best player in the league right now, the player who's been like got feature stories all over the place, well-deserved feature stories, like the player that's driving conversation, that's doing everything incredibly right. To see her go down when that game is like completely in hand, and I'm like Cheryl, you can pull her early. Like they're not like the game is over. Like the Aces quit on Saturday. Like they're down like 50 points. They don't care, and it's like. Nalissa going to score 100 in like 20 minutes. That's not happening. Like you could have like sat her early, all those kind of things. Like if you wanted to give more players like your deep bench more run, I get it. But like you pull, it's like in baseball when your team is up like 15-0 and your starter is at like 7 pitches and it's like, oh, I could leave him in there. No, you don't need to. You can pull them. Like they're not coming back. Grab some long reliever, let them sort of like get some work in, like, but your ace starter, your day's over. Like, come and sit next to me, go clean up, and then we'll grab dinner after the game is over tonight.
Yeah, that was brutal. And I'm not necessarily a player, excuse me. I am not that. Only for 45 minutes that one time, Brian, when I got to sign a New York Liberty contract. I am not a person who always leans into, take the players out, because I also, as a former athlete, I know that sometimes whether you're in a zone and you want to stay in that zone, or whether you have been so far from the zone, as Courtney Williams might say, you couldn't hit you couldn't hit the ocean. What is that saying that she always says? She couldn't hit the ocean from a boat or something. I don't know.
Like that, yeah.
Some saying that they say out in where's she from? I don't know, but some saying from where she be from. Make Connecticut again. Anyway, what is the phrase? I thought I had it, and now
is it like hit the ocean with like a pebble or something like that?
Like hit the ocean with a rock or something like that. Yeah, that's what it is. Thank you, Brian. This is why I have a co-host, y'all, because thank you. Tulip got it. Hit a rock in the ocean. Hit the ocean with a rock. Hit something about a rock and the ocean, because the ocean is big and a rock I mean, most rocks. Maybe it's a pebble. Maybe we should specify not just any rock, because a rock could be a big rock, or a rock could be a little rock. So I think for the purposes of this podcast, we're gonna say she couldn't hit the ocean with a pebble. That's what we'll say. That's what we'll say. I think that I just think that you sometimes need to let a player work through whatever they're going through. And so in a I get it, strategy wise, you're up so much, you probably don't want your key players in there. But if they're feeling good or if they're trying to work through something, sometimes I see it. And honestly, we've seen games this season where even I have a little bit more empathy perhaps for the New York Liberty roster. And I'm like, dang, Sabrina's in this game pretty late. Is that the right move? Because she's been looking tired. And that's why I'm really impressed that she's pushed through, because there was that game that shall not be mentioned, the Sparks game, where I was like, dang, she looks dog tired. I was like, I don't know what she's going to look like for the next one. And she figured it out. Yep. She figured it out. But I just think that injury to Fee, I honestly feel like people aren't talking about it enough. Maybe it's do we have a hurt heart space, as Courtney Vandersloot used to say? Do we all just have a hurt heart space and we don't want to talk about it? Because that's a significant injury, man. I'm very grateful. We heard today that the imaging that she got, that she avoided any serious injury. It's a sprain. When I saw that, I was like, I was like, I hope it's not a break, because that ankle looked like it got twisted real bad.
Yep.
But again, we know this from Kelsey Plum. We know this from Sabrina Ionescu. We know this from Candace Parker. Sprains can be significant injuries.
Mm-hmm.
Significant injuries. Winsome saying, I remember hearing Courtney say that quote, and I was like, dang, she got bars. She said it multiple times that she was like, I can't hit the ocean with a rock. That's what it is. Can't hit the ocean with a rock. 2 to 3 weeks is when she will be reevaluated. 2 to 3 weeks is when she will be reevaluated. I'm assuming, Tulip, you're talking about Nafisa Collier. Now, again, 2 to 3 weeks, and maybe that's all she wrote. Right now, they still have to consider swelling. A lot of the pain that she's probably experiencing is coming from the swelling because the injury just happened. And so when they re-image and they get the pictures, after some of the swelling has gone down, they'll be able to reassess the grade, because there's like different grades of sprains. But I'm not a doctor. I just play one on. No, I am not a doctor, but I've been around sports for a little bit, and that's the next step. That's why the evaluation is going to be 2 to 3 weeks. And it might be that she's fine after those 2 to 3 weeks, but it's not a guarantee that she's back. The same thing honestly happened with Jonquel Jones, because she hurt her ankle, and then she took some time away, and then she came back and she happened to roll it again. Mm-hmm. And that's when she was out for the extended period. Again, Candace Parker had a similar situation. Kelsey Plum. This is, honestly, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to keep it a buck. When Kelsey Plum was like, yeah, she had a sprained ankle, I was like, a sprained ankle? I was like, I've sprained the ankle. Like, what's good, homie? Like, get up. Like DT might say, get up. I told her to get up. That's a crazy quote. Diana Taurasi is the wildest human being that I think I've ever encountered in real life. Wild. She's wild. Anyway, I told her to get up. That's such a freaking wild quote. She was talking about Brittany Griner, in case y'all didn't know. It was like a halftime interview, and you see your big go down. What do you say? She's like, I told her to get up. Crazy. That's crazy.
Diana wild, man.
Diana is wild. So, but like that was my mentality. I'm like, a sprain, just like, I don't know, put some ice on it, get up, walk it off, compression, But then that's when I realized, I was like, yo, there are sprains that will have you out. Candace Parker, her sprain 4 weeks in was still black and blue, like someone punch her in the face yesterday. Like, it was crazy. And so I was like, dang, like you can jack yourself up on a sprain. I hope that's not the case with Fee. We need you, Fee. Mm-hmm. This is a Liberty podcast that wants to see you healthy. It is not necessarily in my emotional best interest to say that. But for the love of the game, this season in particular, we are infinitely better when we get to see Nafisa Collier on the court. So don't rush back for my sake. Definitely not that. But I really do hope that everything's on the up and up. A little gutted I won't get to see Fee versus Meesseman. That would have been exciting. They probably wouldn't have gone like literally head to head, but just both of them on the court. That's crazy. I mean, I sometimes have a way with words. I was like, that's not even the same body part. But do you know what I mean? Like when you get punched in the eye, there's like a very particular kind of color pattern that usually happens. Or when one gets punched in the eye. Not everyone maybe has been hit in the eye. Like I used to play baseball, softball. So I've gotten a few on the cheek before. And so there, like when you get hit in the face area, there's like the yellow sometimes, and then the deep purple, and then the blue. Like you get a little bit of all of it. That's what I was trying to convey. I don't know why I said it. I was like, well, you're saying it now, Erica, so now you got to go with it. But that's what I meant. DT said, but did you die though? Like she would, I'm sure she said this multiple times to people. Like I could see her saying that. Like, are you dead? No? Okay, keep it moving. Yeah, she could be out for weeks, but with no announcement from the Lynx yet. They did announce, I can read it. They did announce that she would be reevaluated, or whatever the standard is that they say after an injury like that. But they did put something out earlier. Let me see. I'll read it. After undergoing an MRI, Collier was evaluated by the team physician, who is Dr. Elena Gelsing. Right ankle sprain was confirmed, reevaluated in the coming weeks, and further updates on her progress will be provided when available. So they didn't even say 2 to 3 weeks. They just said weeks. Like a couple, which would be 2, or like double a couple, that would be 4, or I don't know, a couple and a half. Like we don't know yet is the point. We just don't know. They're keeping things close to the chest. But again, the swelling has to go down before we know. I feel like we accomplished a lot on today's episode, Brian. So we're going to call it. There's a game tomorrow.
Yep.
I'll be in the house, have some stuff I'm cooking up for CBS Sports. We, of course, will have our newsletter. Brian's got some things on the burner for Black Rosie. What else? What else you want to tell the folks before we hop off of here?
Yeah, I would say that's it. Like, we've got some stuff cooking on the website, newsletter. We got some fun coming for you this week, and Erica is doing stuff for America's leading network, CBS.
Listen, I appreciate the shout out. I'm gonna leave it there for now. MCCA. If you know, you know. And if you want to know, but you don't know, just follow me on Instagram and you could probably piece it together. But for Brian Florentin, Erica L. Ayala, we're going to get out of here before we really lose it. Thank y'all for joining. We've got Winsome, Tulip. Let's see, Damien, as always, thank you for coming through. Al is on here. Who else we got? Let's see. I'm scrolling. Y'all gave a lot of comments. I love this for us. Oh, you're right. Country Notary. Country. I was like, Courtney? Who's Courtney? It's country. We appreciate y'all. We know Varnell was in here earlier. Thank you so much for joining us. We will be back next week. But Brian and I are in the same, not necessarily zip code, at least not right now, but we are in the boroughs. And so we will link up. Brian, I got a light for you. We got some light that we're gonna get you on the stream. Let there be light. We'll catch you on the next one. And if you want to know how we feel about the Seesaw Seattle Storm, join us on Wednesday night for Tempestagi Talk right here on the Black Rosie Media YouTube channel. And now we wave. Pink Pony Club. Let me stop. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace out, everybody.